It was a rainy Saturday afternoon when I decided to clean out the drawer in my study desk. It had been years since I touched anything inside. Most of it was old paper, broken pens, keys I didn't remember, and tangled charging cables. As I reached toward the back, my fingers touched something hard and cold. I pulled it out and stared. It was my old phone, black, scratched, and heavier than I remembered. A wave of memories hit me. I hadn't seen this phone in nearly 6 years. I thought I lost it during a movie, or maybe I'd just forgotten it. But here it was, quietly resting in the dark drawer all this time. Curious, I pressed the power button. To my surprise, the screen lit up. The battery still worked, though it was almost empty. My heart beat faster. What was on it? Messages, photos, maybe some videos? I quickly plugged it in and waited as it powered up fully. When the home screen appeared, I saw the old wallpaper, a picture of the sea taken from a cliff during one summer. That trip, that moment. My fingers moved on their own. I opened the photo gallery. Hundreds of pictures, but I didn't scroll through all of them. My eyes landed on the last photo taken, the final image before the phone disappeared from my life. I tapped it open. It was a blurry photo at first glance, almost dark. But then I recognized the scene, a train station, a person standing on the platform, turning back slightly as if saying goodbye. My breath caught in my throat. It was Lily. Lily. A name I hadn't spoken in years. A name that used to mean everything to me. I leaned back in my chair, the phone still glowing in my hand. My heart was racing. That photo was taken on the last day of our trip to the mountains of northern Japan. It was spring, and the cherry blossoms had just started to bloom. We were two friends with backpacks, a map, and no real plan. Just freedom, just adventure. We had met in college in a photography class. I was shy, quiet, always observing from a corner. Lily was the opposite, bright, full of energy, always laughing, always carrying a camera around her neck. She said life was like a moving train. You had to jump in before it passed you by. Maybe that's why we clicked. I watched the world, and she chased it. That trip was her idea. One last wild trip before life gets serious, she said. We hiked through the forests, crossed rivers, and met strangers who offered us tea and stories. We laughed until our stomachs hurt and talked late into the night about dreams, fears, and what we hoped the future would hold. But something changed on the last day. That morning, Lily was quiet. She kept checking her watch, looking around nervously. I thought maybe she was sad that the trip was ending. But then, when we reached the small station in the middle of nowhere, she handed me a sealed envelope. "Don't open this until you get home," she said. Her eyes were serious for the first time. "Why? What's in it?" I laughed nervously. "Promise me," she said. "Promise." I nodded. Then, just as the train arrived, she stepped back and said, "This is where we say goodbye." "What? Aren't you coming?" She smiled, but there was sadness in her eyes. "No, I have to go a different way." I was confused, upset. But before I could ask more, the train doors closed. Through the glass, She waved. I pulled out my phone to take one last picture of her. That was the photo. And then she was gone. I had opened the envelope as soon as I got home. It was a short letter. Dear Maya, I'm sorry I didn't tell you everything. I didn't want our trip to be filled with sadness. The truth is, I'm sick. Really sick. I've known for a while. This trip was my way of saying goodbye in the best way I knew how. I didn't want tears. I wanted beauty. I wanted joy. Thank you for giving me both. Please don't try to find me. Just remember me and live. Live the life I won't get to. That will be the greatest gift. Love, Lily. I had cried for hours that day. Then, somehow, I lost the phone. Maybe I didn't want to see that photo again. Maybe I didn't want to feel the pain again. But now, 6 years later, here it was, right in front of me. I looked again at the photo. There was something odd about it. In the top left corner, barely visible, was a sign. I zoomed in. It had numbers, coordinates maybe, and a strange symbol I didn't remember seeing before. My hands trembled as I opened my laptop and typed in the numbers. It was a location, a mountain temple, deep in the forests of Nagano. I didn't hesitate. A week later, I was on a plane to Japan. I told myself it was just curiosity, but deep down I knew. It was something more. I needed closure. I needed answers. The journey to the temple was long. I took trains, buses, and finally hiked up a narrow path surrounded by tall trees. When I reached the top, the air was cold and fresh. The temple was small, peaceful, almost forgotten by time. A few monks walked silently. I approached one, showed him the photo, and asked if he recognized the place. He looked at it and nodded slowly. She came here, he said in English, though with a heavy accent. Years ago. A woman with bright eyes and a soft voice. She stayed for a while. My heart skipped a beat. Do you know where she went after? The monk smiled gently. She never left. I didn't understand at first. Then he led me to a quiet garden behind the temple. There, under a cherry blossom tree, was a small stone with her name, Lily. I stood there, the wind blowing gently, carrying the scent of flowers. My eyes filled with tears, but there was peace too. She had chosen this place, a place of silence, beauty, and reflection, a place that matched her soul. I sat by her stone for hours, talking to her, telling her about my life, the people I met, the stories I wrote, the adventures I had, all because of her. Because I had kept my promise. I had lived. Before I left, I took out the old phone and took a new photo. The cherry blossoms above her resting place. The last photo had brought me pain and questions. This one brought me peace and answers. As I walked back down the path, I felt lighter. Life is strange. It moves quickly. People leave. Moments disappear. But memories stay. Photos fade. But the feelings they hold stay strong. Back home, I printed both photos. The one of her at the train station and the one of the cherry blossoms at her grave. I placed them side by side on my wall. A beginning and an end. A goodbye and a hello. A lost photo and a found truth. And every time I looked at them, I remembered the laughter, the friendship, and the promise that shaped my life. Because sometimes the last photo isn't an ending, it's a doorway to something more.